welcome to today's Midday Movement Project. Get yourself up and come on down onto the mat. So we're going to start with a nice hip opener today, coming into what we like to call the 90-90. And so a 90-90 is exactly this, two 90-degree angles. So that front hip, we want the knee to be in line with the hip, the ankle to be in line with the knee, and the same thing with that back hip. So my hip is here. So a lot of times we think here with hip or in our back with our hip. Your anatomical hip is actually right through here. So lining that up with your knee, lining that up with your ankle. So just like the pants seam would be on the side of your pants. Next, rotate here. So that sternum is going to be directly over top of that front thigh. If you need to, you can kind of take your hand, press your hand against the floor to help sit yourself up tall. So we're going to be here for a few breaths. You might feel a little tension in the low back. That's okay. You can kind of rock in and out of that a little bit. Open up the hips. Maybe you need to walk the knee out a little bit here. Maybe you're feeling too cramped. Get yourself comfortable. Sitting up nice and tall, relaxing the shoulders, focusing on your breath. One more full deep breath in and out. Now walk your hands forward, but think about leaning forward with the chest. So the chest is coming forward. We're keeping a neutral spine in our backs. You're going to feel the stretch now in the outside of that left hip, so your forward leg. Keep leaning forward with the chest. You can flex your foot if you want to as well. Breathing in through the nose, out through the nose. And then walk yourself back in and lean back behind you. So now we're going to open the sternum towards that back leg. Shoulders are dropping away, opening that front hip. So I feel a lot of stretch here in the front of that hip. It's a big opener for me. One more breath in and out. Good. Bring yourself back up tall. So now we want to switch to the other side, but we're going to play with this a little bit. So we're going to try and do a rotation. So you may need to use your hands to assist you. I'm going to try not to use my hands as I rotate to the other side. So for you, this may look like this. Totally fine. Just a way to play. Now we're going to set ourselves up in the same exact manner, finding those 90-degree angles front and back, knees, hips, ankles stacked, sternum over top of that front leg, hands to the ground if you need to press to help you sit up nice and tall. So the beautiful thing with our 90-90 is we're getting to actually rotate and move our hip joints themselves. So that back leg, we're getting some internal rotation, and that front leg, we're getting some external rotation. So this is really good for your hips, your pelvis, your low back. Take a big deep breath in and out. And then begin to walk your hands forward, lowering your chest down towards the floor. But again, keeping a nice neutral spine. So I'm not just rounding to get closer to the floor. I'm thinking about lengthening out of my waist, lengthening out of my pelvis, and just focusing on feeling sensation and stretch in that right hip. This is great to do before you perform any squats, any lunges, maybe on a day when you've been sitting a little bit more. I know turkey day for me, I sat a little bit more than I normally would, so this is feeling really good in my hips. Now begin to walk your hands back up towards your body, and we're going to open up again. So now we're rotating our torso, so we're headed towards that back leg, hands reach behind us, and we feel a little stretch here. So I'm not feeling as much stretch on this side, so I may need to walk this leg back a little bit, just so again, I create stretch and sensation. So once you're in a pose, that doesn't mean you have to stay there. You can move, you can make it work for you. Always search, always explore. Make it worth your time. Two more breaths. And then walk yourself back up. Bring the legs together and go ahead and lay onto your back. So from here, you're going to straighten the left leg, hug the right knee into the chest, and give it a nice pull in. So right now the knee is directly over the chest. Now widen that leg a little bit. So knee is going towards the floor, a little wider than your torso. And then bring that leg back in and cross it over midline for a spinal twist. You can play here with shoulder position again. Maybe you want to pin that right shoulder down. Maybe you want to lift it up. See how that changes the stretch for you. Each of us will feel it a little different. If my shoulder's not pinned, I do feel more stretch in my low back. If my shoulder's pinned, I feel a little bit more through my mid back. Bring that knee back in. Hug that knee in. Give yourself a little love. Pull it back a little wider than the torso. And then lower it down. Pull the left knee in this time. Give it a nice squeeze. Take a big deep breath in and out. And then widen that knee a little wider than the torso. Pulling that knee in. And then cross it over midline. Spinal twist. This is one of my favorites. Again, playing with how the shoulder feels pinned down or let it lift. Ironically for me, I feel more stretch with my left shoulder pinned down. So we're different side to side. And that is okay. Things to work on, things to notice. Always fun to learn. Now engage your core, bring yourself back to center. Hug that knee, center. Pull that knee out to the side. And then hug both knees in. Little rock side to side. And then you are all set. Bring yourself up, and we will see you very soon.